Hi there. In this video, we're going to look at IELTS Speaking Part 3. And the topic that we're using is books. In this first prompt, do I generally read a lot of books or prefer watching TV, and why? My answer is, I tend to read for information rather than relaxation. I lean towards searches on the internet rather than hard copy books. For me, long walks, baking and driving are far more relaxing than either reading books or watching television. So I've answered the question. Do I do it? No. And why? Because. If you take a look at my response, you can see that I've used quite a few correlative conjunctions rather than, for, more, and either or. And they just help my response to hang together. They give it some cohesion. In my next response, do you think that people read as much nowadays as they did in the past? My answer is no. I think people read much more in the past than they do now because there weren't as many forms of entertainment back then. Today, most people can watch television, play computer games, or work their way down YouTube rabbit holes during their free time. But a century ago, they were pretty much limited to listening to the radio or reading a book. So no, I don't think people read as much in today's society as they did in the past. And if you take a look at my transcript here, you'll see I've got my language efficiency going with a couple of parallels. The next question here is, how do our reading habits change as we grow up, and why does it happen? And my response is, on the whole, we tend to read more as we age, partly because most older people spend more time sitting, and finding an interesting book is often easier than finding something to watch on television, especially since many of the programs and movies target younger people. Younger people read less because there are so many demands on their time and so much entertainment variety for the little free time that they do have. Television, YouTube, computer games, podcasts, movies, friends, gym memberships, and overtime work hours all compete with books for younger people's time. And so if we look at a transcript of my response, you can see that I've used comparative forms in several places. You want to be very comfortable with those going into your test because you're comparing what's going to happen in the future or in the past or present. So for that comparison question, you want to make sure that you have those comparative forms. Okay, and our last question here is, do you think children should be encouraged to read more? My answer is yes, absolutely. There are so many good things that happen to children's brains when they read. First, they learn to translate words into pictures, thereby developing their imaginations. And second, the more they read, the faster they get information from the text. While that in itself is satisfying, it also helps to increase the speed at which they learn in school, because much of the transfer of information from teacher to pupil is done through the printed word. So yes, I do think that children should be encouraged to read at every opportunity. If we take a look at this transcript, you can see that I have a very clear introduction. Yes, absolutely, there are so many good things that happen to children's brains when they read. I introduced my first idea with first, so that it makes it really easy for the examiner to follow me. It gives me some structure to my response. And then my second idea, and I identify that with second. The more they read, the faster they get information from text. And now I elaborate on that a little bit. While that in itself is satisfying, it helps to increase the speed at which they learn in school. Okay, and then I have a nice clean conclusion. Yes, I do think that children should be encouraged to read at every opportunity. I just answered the question. Okay, so for some tips as you go into your test, first of all, use your vocabulary to advantage. Don't hide a good vocabulary. If you've got one, show it off. It's your tool. Second, make sure you know your comparative forms, because there is going to be a question asking you to compare a time in the past with the present, or the present with a time in the future. So know your comparative forms. Use a range of complex sentences. Use appropriate tenses. And use a clean structure wherever and whenever you can. So that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I certainly hope you found it useful. Do click on the like button if you have, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.